Chapter 7. Temple of Isis. The team drives through the desert sands and small patches of green jungle before Mava notices something lights up on her holographic dashboard map. She instinctively slows the hoverbike and lowers it to the ground to park. It's supposed to be here, Mava says angrily. Damn it! She pounds her hand on the bike. Leandra and Vorsha look startled and jump off. Why have we stopped? Leandra asks. What's supposed to be here? Mava pauses, then slowly turns to Leandra. It's a treasure. A place with wonderful treasures. Well, it's supposed to have treasures. Why do you look so guilty? Jindai asks. This place. I shouldn't care about it. But I have to look into it, Mava explains. I didn't say anything about it before because I didn't want to get my hopes up if it wasn't real. But Chaths told me there's a place full of treasures and ancient wonders around here. He even had it on the map. Chaths wouldn't lie to me. It has to be here. Why do you care about this place? Leandra asks. I mean, I don't really care either way, but we're on a mission here. Is this going to help us? I need to see if it's here, Leandra, Mava states. To see if what's here? I don't think you'd get it, Leandra. I want to explain it to you, but I'm not sure if you'll get it. You can tell me, Mava. I'm not going to stop being your friend. Leandra reassures her. Friend? Mava asks. We're friends now, aren't we? She looks at her hands and starts crying. Vorsha hovers toward her, then stops before reaching her as Jindai kneels and gently places a hand on her amulet, signaling her to wait. What is it, Mava? Jindai asks. You guys can't be my friends. Leandra, Mava says. You're so perfect and innocent and Jindai, you're so good. Do you know what I've done in the past? Anger rises in her voice. What, Mava? Leandra says calmly, realizing she needs to listen. I've killed people, Mava shouts. I've hurt people. I used and abused people for my own good. To survive, just to survive. I hurt others, and I have no excuses, and I don't want any. She yells as though speaking to herself, not looking at them. My dad was killed, or I thought he was. Was he killed? He can't still be alive. Dad. She cries profusely, looking around. Leandra and Jindai move closer and place a hand on each of her shoulders. Vorsha's amulet shines brightly, letting Mava know she's thinking of her. I don't believe the guy I saw was him, Mava says. I don't get how it could be. My dad wouldn't do what that man did. But I also can't risk being wrong. She looks toward the sands as though looking for something. My dad disappeared at a temple I found outside Cairo. He was shot by a mercenary. I was shot too. When I woke up, my dad was gone. I was still alive. I went deeper into the temple and found the mercenaries dead. I also found a giant light. I think another being who I think helped me, saved me. Mava lowers her arms. If my father is still alive, he might be hiding in one of the temples, or I might find out what happened in that temple so long ago. They might be connected. I don't have any other clues or ways to find out what happened to my father. She looks at the three women, her calm eyes matching theirs. I can't believe I think my father might still be alive. and now I have these powers? How? Why me? She shakes her head and pauses before speaking again. Race said the ones who became guardians were the perfect candidates for the role, and that whatever brings them to being guardians is meant to be. That they're people who bring liberation to worlds, saving them. She places her hands on the other's shoulders and looks at Vorsha. I'm not the same person I was when you met me, Leandra. Will you please help me look for my father? Of course, Mava, Leandra says. How could I say no? Regardless of how we met, I've gotten to know you well enough to see you have a good heart. I doubt many people could come out of Cairo without having to deal with all of the turmoil you have. I understand now that it's not who you are. Jindai reassures her. Vorsha stays noticeably quiet while they speak. Jindai and Leandra wait a moment to see if she will chime in, but she doesn't. Thank you, Mava tells Jindai, glancing at Leandra and Vorsha to be sure they feel appreciated as well. Vorsha flies toward the sands, and the three women run after her. I can sense a different type of air over here, Vorsha says in their minds. I think I found something. She continues to hover as the others follow. Jindai, Leandra, and Mava run until they see the entrance to a stone staircase leading underground. A clear stream runs in front of it. The team feels uncertain as they descend into the mysterious structure. At the bottom, they move deeper inside. Jindai uses a device to light their path as they walk through the stone-floored building. They reach a vast room with a high ceiling covered in intricate artwork and designs. As they cross to the other side, they hear the clanking of metal descending the staircase behind them. What the blazes? Mava says, peering over to see what it is. It's that machine, Leandra yells. What is that machine doing here? Jindai asks. Who made that thing? Con 12L pulls out its many metallic arms as if ready for battle. The robot spins rapidly and floats into the air. Without thinking, Leandra unleashes a powerful gust of wind, hurling Con 12L into a stone column. The column snaps in half and collapses onto the machine. Repairing. Con 12L's robotic voice states. Its body slowly reforms into its bipedal shape. Isn't this when we run for it? Jindai asks. Not when you have fingers like me, Mava shouts. She presses her fingers together and fires multiple beams of photonic energy at Con 12L. It takes so much damage that it stops functioning and drops lifelessly to the ground, rubble still covering it. Why does that thing keep coming after us? Mava asks, her heartbeat gradually slowing. You've never seen robots like this, Jindai? Leandra asks. Thankfully, no. It's not something I've seen in any recon reports from Cairo or anywhere else. It's odd, Jindai says. The team continues exploring the large room. Leandra notices a large statue at one end of the room, resembling what looks like a very important woman. Two figures are looking at the large woman's statue on her sides and are visibly smaller than her. That's Isis, Mava says to Leandra. Puzzled, Leandra looks back at Mava and asks, Who is that? I read it in one of the books the monks had, Mava states. Queen Rondage used to announce that she was the embodiment of this supposed goddess. That's why when I saw the book about it at the monk city, I was curious and read some pages. But I doubt she actually exists. Sounds like just a bunch of viper piss, like a lot of the stuff I've seen. Mava pauses, as though catching herself from going down a certain path in the conversation. I Take that back, Leandra. You do? Leandra asks. Yeah. Mava looks at the statue. I don't actually know. I mean, who would have thought you'd come into my life? Who would have thought I'd have these powers? I ain't gonna knock it. We could use a powerful woman like her on our side. Leandra nods in agreement. I agree. The team continues to explore and realizes they're in a temple for the deity Isis. They go deeper and enter another room with paintings of Isis and other stories. Jindai looks closer at one of the images when a holographic woman with wings appears before them. If you're seeing this, then you have come to the right place, the woman in the hologram says. Another one of these things? Mava says. Hopefully it's not another dead person. My name is Passion, and this message can only be seen by those who have the abilities necessary to stop the dark force controlling Earth once and for all, Passion explains. Let's listen, Leandra suggests, studying the woman in the hologram. For hundreds of years, I have been here on this planet, working to cause liberation and uplift the people who live here, Passion explains. Just as I have done on many other planets that have faced oppression of their true soul form, I am not from this planet called Earth. I am from somewhere light years away, but my dedication to your planet is no less important to me. There is something very powerful hidden within this temple. I believe whatever it is will aid you greatly on your journey. To get there, you will need to listen to my guidance, as it is not an easy path. Passion pauses, then points down a hallway. That hallway appears to be a dead end, but it is not. You must find a way to get through the tiny shaft above the ending wall to get to the other side. She pauses again. You can do this. The hologram disappears. Who the suns is that? Mava asks. I have no idea. Do you know Jindai? Leandra asks. I have never heard of or seen that woman before. Jindai replies. And it looks like she has wings. I wonder if they're real. She looks puzzled, as though trying to figure out how to have her own pair of wings. Let's at least check out what she's talking about, Leandra says. Before she can start walking down the hallway, Mava grabs her arm and stops her. This seems off, Leandra, Mava says. This temple can't be a real temple to Isis. We are hundreds of miles away from Cairo by now. The ancient people who worship this woman didn't live this far away. And why aren't there other people here as well? The staircase is just wide open for anyone to come in, and it looks barely even ransacked. Look, I've explored many places when I was a mercenary, and something's not right about this place. It's not old enough to be the real thing. Something is off. You're probably right, Mava, Jindai says, stepping into the conversation. Either way, we might find clues about your father here and learn more about this Passion lady. This temple reminds me of the one you found me in, Vorsha says. How did you end up there, Vorsha? Leandra asks. Believe me, I know even less about the caves you found me in than you probably do, Vorsha replies. Did the monks tell you anything about them? Some of the architecture resembles what we're seeing here. Those monks let us glance at their books, but we didn't see anything about your caves or this location, Mava says. Well, we haven't got much to lose. Come on, let's see what this Passion lady is talking about, Leandra suggests. Vorsha remains silent, slightly happy that Leandra doesn't return to the topic of how she ended up in the caves. Who calls themselves Passion anyway? Mava begins the conversation again. Let's nickname ourselves too while we're at it. She looks at Leandra. I'll be sniper, since I've got great aim. I like that one. And Leandra, what about you? Leandra gives Mava a look, signaling she doesn't really know. Well, I remember that I used to be called Freedom. For some reason, I didn't forget that, she states. Mava lifts her eyebrow. Well, if she can call herself Passion, then I guess I have no objections, Mava says, then looks at Vorsha. And you? Vorsha appears for a moment in her corporeal form and says, I don't need a nickname. Vorsha is fine. And you, Jendai? Mava asks. Isn't Jen good enough? Jendai asks. Not really for a scorching nickname, but whatever. If you want to be called Jen, I don't care, Mava says. Well, now that's settled, can we go? Leandra asks, walking down the hallway. They find the dead end Passion mentioned and the small ventilation hole at the top of the large wall, which appears to be a door. Are you willing to check that out, Vorsha? Leandra asks. Of course, Vorsha says, and hovers up through the ventilation shaft. Be careful and make some noise if you get into any trouble, Leandra tells her. Vorsha travels through the shaft to the other side of the wall. She cannot see anything and uses her corporeal form to generate light, though she can only sustain it for a short time. She solves a puzzle and finds a way to turn on some dim lighting inside the room. There's a tomb in the middle of the room with decorative art all around it. Vorsha attempts to look inside the sarcophagus, but it's sealed shut. She looks at the largest wall in front of her and sees a tall engraving of Isis. The eyes on Isis begin to flare as though coming alive. Vorsha is removed from her consciousness outside the amulet and returns to the spiritual plane. What appears to be the deity Isis stands before her. What am I doing here? Vorsha asks, unsure of her surroundings. Isis tells her that she is indeed Isis and requests that Vorsha continue with Leandra, Mava, and Jendai until they completely liberate the planet. She explains that Vorsha is greatly needed and that this temple is the key to accomplishing their goals, but it cannot be used now. They must eventually find a way to use it. Vorsha returns to her third-dimensional crystal in the amulet and to the room with the sarcophagus. The wall with the image of Isis is still lit. Only a portion at the bottom glows bright red. Vorsha briefly takes her corporeal form, pushes the red-lit portion of the wall, and the door opens for the rest of the team to enter. Leandra, Mava, and Jendai enter the room and find Vorsha. She explains what happened, and they see the sarcophagus but do not know what to do with it or with anything else in the room. There's some type of opening here at the top of this thing, Jendai says. She feels a groove at the top of the sarcophagus. Looks out of place. The team spends some time exploring the room but does not find anything else useful. As they leave and pass the hologram where they saw Passion, a new hologram of her appears. I didn't figure out what to do in that room either, Passion says. There must be some way. Passion starts talking, but is cut off and appears to pose for battle as a robot arm appears in the hologram before it cuts out. She must have run into our mechanic menace, Leandra says. Hopefully she's okay. Come on, ladies. It looks like we'll have to go for now. Maybe we can come back another time. The team leaves the temple the way they came in. When they walk through the entrance, they notice that Con 12L is gone. They get back onto Mava's hoverbike and take off into the desert.